So there's an old Kuden, and it says, a spider is to a web what a ninja is to a rope. Right? And if you think about that's so true. I mean, one thing, like, we always start all of our camps with climbing skills. And I actually talked about that, you know, at our last camp, where how we always we climb with the Shuko, and we do all these kind of climbing drills. And you never see other schools year after year after year constantly doing climbing skills within their ninjutsu program. Like, you might find one ninjutsu school doing climbing drills, you know, once way back in the day. But generally speaking, most people will they'll say, oh yeah, our organization teaches about climbing skills. Here's some footage in the 1970s of our organization doing climbing skills with a, you know, Kaginawa or something like that. You know what I mean? And to me, that's not training. That, you know what I mean? That may be research, that may be study, but it's not training. It's not refining a skill. And I do think that's one thing that separates the Budorukai from all the other organizations. We're trying to refine skills. We're purposely pushing our bodies to extremes in the heat and all this stuff to find enlightenment through the training and the acquisition of the skill set. It's not just about, okay, here's a scroll, let's read it, let's research it. And I'm not taking shots at people that do that. Everyone lives their life the way they want. Some people like that. They prefer that. They don't want to do the physical conditioning. They don't want to do the sparring and the grappling and the climbing the trees with the hooked ropes and all this kind of stuff. They just don't want to do that kind of stuff. It's not what they want. They want to read books and read scrolls, and that's what they want, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's for them. That's not what we do. We're trying to acquire a higher level of physical skill, and we're trying to reach enlightenment through physical action, through training of the martial arts. Now, people bitch about ninjutsu, whether it's a martial art or this, that, and the other. And at one time, ninjutsu, without doubt, was nothing but, you know, stealth and espionage and guerrilla tactics and information gathering and intelligence, counterintelligence, all this kind of stuff, right? It's what you see in Spy versus Spy today. I mean, the arson, burning down castles, you know, all that kind of stuff. But what once was an art, you know, what once was a martial art used for war has now become a martial art used for enlightenment. So different. Look at all the different schools of Kenjutsu. You can't tell me that whoever was using whatever particular Kenjutsu school, right? This Kenjutsu or Iaijutsu or whatever, they studied those skills to kill people. That's exactly what you study the art of the sword for. It is not for any other reason. You catch what I mean? In its original form. In its original form, that's what it was for. To teach you how to use a weapon to kill. That's it. And now people don't study the way of the sword for that. Now they study the way of the sword for the idea of enlightenment to better oneself through the ancient ways. That's what this is. The only difference between us is we use ninjutsu as our vehicle to do that. We study the ancient arts of the ninja, and then from there we study and refine those skills to find our enlightenment, to be able to protect ourselves and the ones that we love, to be able to give honor back to something. So I get it that there are some ninpo organizations where they tend to hang their hat more on the folktales, and they want to believe in the fantasy, and they don't really want to delve into the historical side of it. You know what I mean? And that's okay. And the people that really want to do that kind of training, there's lots of those kind of organizations. You know, people will find, like-minded people tend to hang out, right? Then you got the other people that, well, they don't really want to do that kind of stuff. They just rather read the books and read a scroll. And, you know, to them it's a hobby. It isn't a lifestyle. They want to, you know, on a Saturday they might crack open a book, read it, and then that's it. They're not. It's not more than that. Or maybe once a month they get on some Facebook page just to see what the group is up to, and they delve into it for, you know, 20 minutes on a Saturday once a month or something, and then that's it. They go on with their life. Here, our school is much different because in this organization, when you're studying ninjutsu, I'm expecting you guys to study the scrolls. I expect that. It's not just the scrolls of our 7 traditions, but also I do make references to multiple different historical documents. Generally speaking, that's Bon Senshukai, Nippuden, Shoninki, Book of 5 Rings, Art of War, and the Hagakure. Like, those are the ones that I tend to jump in the most. Book of 5 Rings, without doubt. You guys know I use the most more than anything. I use the Book of 5 Rings more than I use all the other ones combined. I think the Goron no Sho is a masterpiece, to be quite honest with you. But in dealing with the mentality of war. But with that being said, I expect the students here to study the scrolls. I expect the students to build what we call Bushi-ki, or samurai spirit, good personal spirit, through training. I expect the students to build their strength through Hojo and Do, push-up, sit-up, squat, sparring, grappling, strength training, conditioning, resistance training, whatever, survival skills. I expect that supplemental training to be there consistently. I expect the students to understand not just the 7 traditions that we have, but also the modern variations of those techniques. And this school, without doubt, you cannot be successful if you are not dedicated. Most people don't want to be dedicated, so then they come in here and they join, and they're all happy when they start, and then they're like, fuck, this is a lot. And then they're gone. You know what I mean? Because it's really not what they signed up for. They want to do like your typical karate class. Come in, punch, punch, kick, kick. Okay, I missed a couple weeks, I come back. Right? That's not what we are. And I'm never gonna be like that. Every day people come into the school, we study ninjutsu, and we study the mentality of ninjutsu and various different techniques, and you study the martial arts and the bujutsu and iaijutsu and jujutsu and all this kind of stuff, right? You study the curriculum, and you're going through the curriculum. These 2 days is really set to the idea of what it was meant for at its original time. These next 2 days, I really want to take the time to dedicate to that. You know what I mean? And kind of give back. Because I think so many times, I just feel like this society doesn't give honor to anything anymore. I mean, I feel that the leaders of the world are going the wrong direction. I think the mentality of people are going the wrong direction. On Twitter today, I made a post. I don't even know if it got a like. You know what I mean? You know how everyone says, this is trending, that's trending, this is trending. I put on there, I was like, I wish hashtag human decency would be trending. You know what I mean? It's true though. I mean, it's not, people just don't do that anymore. People don't want to go through what we're going to go through the next 2 days and try to find something that would make themselves better. You know what I mean? For some reason, and I don't know where, you guys can throw your 2 yen on this. I don't know why, but for some reason, we believe that more is better, not better is better. And more isn't better, more is more. Better is better. And for some reason, people think if they acquire more knowledge, that makes them wise. And that doesn't. That just makes them knowledgeable. Knowledge and wisdom aren't the same things. You guys know this. We've talked, it's one of our Kuden lessons. And yeah, I don't know. But one thing that we do when we start all of our camps is all of the 2-day camps here, we always start with climbing drills. And I think that it's important that we start with climbing drills. Not because they're hard or because, trying to get you guys a workout. Not at all. There's this element to where, like I said, the old Kuden saying of a spider is to a web what a ninja is to a rope. And I guess someone could read that and say, well, ninjas used grappling hooks and ropes and all this kind of stuff, right? And that's what they did, just like a spider uses a web. Yeah, that's true. But the quote wasn't a spider is to a web, or a spider uses a web like a ninja uses a rope. The quote was a spider is to a web, right? And if you look at a spider move around on that web, they move really freely. Like they just move around all over the place, very quickly, very easily, very silent. So to me, that means the ninja climbing skills was one of those few skills that's an absolute necessity. When you look at what we think of as ninja today, right? You think of black masks and swords and combat and all this shit, right? Okay. when you look at the historical documents, whether it's the Nippon, Bunsen, Shikai, Shoninki, whatever, it doesn't matter what scroll, private collection or in public domain, regardless, they really focus on this. They have more climbing tools and fire tools and water tools and arson and shit like that than they do combat. There are way more climbing tools and ways of getting in than there are how to fight or how to get in a combat situation. You know what I mean? But you never see a ninjutsu school do it, except for us, constantly. Like I said, like when we started, I said, you know, they'll say, oh, look what we did back in the 1970s. Here's a video clip of our school back in the 70s doing it. Well, yeah, but is that the last time your school did it? You know what I mean? So I do think that we are going to do that. Now I will say that we've done we've done the Shuko. We've all climbed with the Shuko multiple times this year. So we're not going to do the Shuko climb today. What I would like to do today to do our climb is I would like to go up and use the Sanjaku Tenuguri. That's what I would like to give a go today. So the idea with the Sanjaku Tenuguri, you guys know it's the 3-foot cloth.
Okay.
All right, so a lot of times what they do is they take the 3-foot cloth, the Sanjaku Tenuguri, and they throw it around a tree, and they would use that to just hoist up something to get up. Because it's easier to hold on to that than it is grabbing onto a tree. You know what I mean? So the first drill that we're going to do today to kind of put yourself in that perspective, and then think about as you're climbing up, you're like, people did this to get away from being dead. You know what I mean? Or people did this so they could sneak into something really silent. You know what I mean? So, and if you keep that mentality, and we're going to go through this pain, and we're going to go through the sweating and all this shit, just to get ourselves a little closer to what they did. I think that's important. I do think it's important, and I think that the modern day people get away from things like this, and I just think that if we don't keep it alive, if we don't keep the spirit alive, and we don't keep the training alive, even if it's just a handful of people, it will be dead. And the authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai bujutsu will not be dead as long as I'm alive. I'm not going to allow that to happen. Even if it's just a small group that comes and sees me, I'm okay with that. It's not dead yet.